What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with an insanely swole off-season physique update from Regan on his road to this upcoming 2025 season. More specifically for the New York Pro 2025. So the New York Pro is gonna be held in May. So Regan has roughly 5 more months to go before he has to step on stage. Unless of course he gets ready too early and he chooses to do Detroit Pro or maybe the Pittsburgh Pro as well. So the chances of Regan rushing this prep, they are almost zero at this point, because his major concern last year was that he was unable to hold on to all that muscle that he worked so hard to build during that 2023 season. Now he did beat a guy like Nathan D'Asia and he got to the Olympia stage and he presented his best ever package. But the size still just wasn't enough to give him a shot at the Olympia top 6 to be considered for the first call out. And that is exactly what Regan is striving for in 2025. So with him working with Stefan, I think he is gonna be absolutely peeled, ripped to the bone. But the world of bodybuilding want to see him big as well, because with the kind of structure that he has, if he can bring that sort of conditioning with the added size, I think he is gonna be so unstoppable. Now, I personally do not remember Regan looking like that, weighing 304 pounds, because that is an insane off-season body composition. Now, structurally, Regan has a huge advantage. He is one of those tall, very aesthetic bodybuilders, and he has such a massive frame that he can put on a lot of muscle, and he can still has one of the most statuesque looking physique. So 9th has been his highest placing at the Olympia, and that was last year. So what are your expectations about Regan for next year? Stuart Sutherland aka Beef Stew looking all big today. So he has been doing the New York Pro for the last 2 years in a row, with 2023 New York Pro his best placing to date in a pro show. Now his best look however was seen at this year's New York Pro, and although he dropped down in placing from last year to this year, but that was a very improved physique in a span of just 1 year. His size, his conditioning, his muscularity, everything looked improved. Now that was one of the best New York Pro lineups, with Nick Walker, Martin Fitzwater, Antonio Burton in there, and that actually explains his 4th place. But that being said, Stu severely underperformed in the later shows of the year, like Cali Pro and Van Pro. The Vancouver Pro in particular, that was a very disappointing showing for him, because that was probably his best shot at fighting for his first pro win and getting to the Olympia stage for the very first time. But he was just way off, and that was like the worst look of his career so far. Now Stu has plenty of size, he has decent muscularity, and he's able to create a very good illusion on the stage of having good aesthetics, of having a small waistline. He hits a very good vacuum as well. Now his off-season after Van Pro, that was also far from ideal, but is now getting back in the groove, as this whole 2025 off-season is coming to an end. Or who knows, maybe he will extend his off-season. Now some of these guys, they should be very mindful on which shows they decide to enter, which shows they pick up, because the chances of a guy like Stu beating a top 10 Olympian, at least as of right now, they are very little. The initial men's open bodybuilding schedule for next year that is now out. So this isn't the final list, because FIBO Germany, that will also have a men's open class, and that too for the very first time. And FIBO is scheduled to be held in April. So Martin Fitzwater, he's the one big name who has committed to doing this show, and he might do Detroit Pro as well. And who knows, he might go for the Arnold Brazil as well, because these shows are literally just 1 week apart. Now we do not see the Arnold Classic UK in this list. And there is a rumor that Arnold UK won't be on the schedule for this 2025 season. So the month of May, that is gonna be the most exciting part of the year for bodybuilding fans, with Pittsburgh Pro having the men's open bodybuilding class for the very first time, and one of the highest paying shows as well in terms of the prize money. So we are expecting to see some very big names in that lineup. And do not forget about the biggest guest posing event of the year. That is also the Pittsburgh Pro, where we are gonna see the reigning Miss Olympia, Samson Dauda, Darryl Winsford, and all these other big names, except for Hadi Choopan. Now expect all of these guys to do the New York Pro as well, because that show is also just 1 week after that. So there is also literally no reason to skip that show, considering it's just 1 additional week of dieting. And that is gonna be a big payday for some of these guys, who are already gonna be in shape. So stay tuned, because I believe this is gonna grow as we get closer and closer into this 2025 season. Next up, we have an update from John Jewett, or rather a comparison on how his growth 8 weeks post-show in 2023 and 2024 went. So John is a prime example of an IFB pro who can stay incredibly lean and very shredded even in the rebound phase, even in the off-season, and who can still put on considerable amount of muscle because that was one of the most impressive transformation in just 1 year. Now in the recent past, we have seen some great transitions from the 212 to the men's open bodybuilding, with Hadi and Derek absolutely crushing it, as both of them have won the Olympia. But I think Tony Burton and John Jewett and their transformation, they also have to be considered one of the best in the business. Because just last year at the Legion Sports, John made his men's open debut and he placed second. And just look at that physique right now. It was just a matter of time till he wins his first pro show. And he did, and that was one pro this year. And then he placed 11th at the Olympia, which could have been 2 spots higher if he did not fade from the prejudging to the finals. Now John continues to make progress from one show to the next one. And right this week, he just started the first phase for next year. Now I won't be surprised at all if he shows up with an additional 5 pounds of solid muscle next year. And with that same conditioning that he always brings. And that is exactly what makes him so damn dangerous. And I think he is gonna be even more dangerous next year in any show that he enters. And he is one of those guys who can place as high as top 10, maybe even higher than that next year. Next up, we have an 8 weeks post-Olympia physique update of Theo Qualify. Now, nobody talks about this guy because he isn't the biggest or the most aesthetic guy out there. He doesn't have any standout body parts, but he has been qualifying for the Olympia for the last 3 years in a row. So that really makes him one of the best European bodybuilders of this time, of this era. Now, Theo kept it really clean in the post-Olympia phase because this is an update 8 weeks after the Olympia this year, and he looks so lean and so ripped. So now he is gonna strive to put on more muscle because he desperately needs to do that in order to climb the ladder and place better than the last Mr. Olympia. Now, if I'm being very honest here, I have to say some of these guys, they will have extreme difficulty qualifying for the Olympia next year. Just like we saw similar things happen to a guy like Andrea Presti this year, who placed second 3 times in a row just before the Olympia. And Presti has always placed better than Theo Qualify in most of the shows. Now Theo is totally dependent on his ability to come in very hard and dry, but he needs some of the other guys to come in off. Now credit must be given where it's due, because he definitely is one of the most right guys in any lineup that he enters. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.